In the lead up to Election Day, we've been going around through each of the 10 states where Planned Parenthood allies are working to enshrine a so-called right to abortion in various state constitutions. Again, those states include Arizona, Colorado, Florida, Maryland, Missouri, Montana, Nebraska, Nevada, New York, and South Dakota. Earlier today, of course, we talked about Colorado's Amendment 79. Well, there's another one that we want to cover today. That would be Missouri, and they're dealing with Amendment 3, the so-called Right to Reproductive Freedom Initiative. And joining me now to discuss this is Missouri Congressman Mark Alford. He serves on the Armed Services Committee as well as the Agricultural Committee, and he represents the 4th Congressional District of Missouri. Congressman Alford, always great to have you on Washington Watch. Welcome back.
Thank you, Jody. Good to be here.
All right, so you're not alone. 9 other states besides Missouri dealing with a devastating initiative that would just have devastating impacts on pro-life laws that are in your state already enforced. Is that correct?
Well, you're absolutely correct. And I think overall, what we're facing in America, this is a battle between good and evil, and the devil uses deceptive language, reproductive freedom. Let's get this straight. Abortion has nothing to do with reproduction. It is the antithesis of reproduction. And yet the left, the woke, the progressives, the Democrats want to try to convince the American people this has to do with reproduction freedom. Here in Missouri, it is illegal to have an abortion now, and has been since the Dobbs decision came down. And rightfully so, we decided in Missouri that we don't want abortion. If you want an abortion, you can go to Kansas or you can go to Illinois. It is now on the amendment. Amendment 3, it's going to be on the ballot this Tuesday, and Missouri voters have to decide, do we want abortions? Do we want taxpayer-funded abortions? And because they're calling it reproductive freedom, and instead of abortion in this language, it could include transgender or sex change surgery, mutilation for children, minors, without the consent of their parents. It is an open-ended language that they're using in this ballot, which is very deceptive and very destructive if it passes.
Yeah, that's one thing I love about you, and one reason I love having you on the program. You just cut through the quick and get through all the weeds and get to the issue, and the deception is real. And this is not about reproductive freedom, it's about killing babies. I love the way you put that. But then what you ended with there, Congressman, dealing with the other part of the deception, how this opens a door for a trans issue and all sorts of other things, as well as potentially, you said, parental consent laws. Tell us more about that. What would happen if this passes?
Well, if it does passes, number one, a woman could have an abortion up until time of birth because of mental health concerns. And that could be wide open as well. But this language also is so vague and deceptive that it would allow for minors to get an abortion without the consent of a parent, which I think the parent needs to be at least involved in this decision as well for a minor. And as we said, would also allow for transgender, I just call it sex change mutilation of young people. You know, I've said all along, Jody, we have got to start reframing the way we talk about abortion in America. The mother is just as important as the baby. Yes, we should be fighting for the baby, but I firmly believe that we should all fight for life-affirming care for the mother and the baby that God is growing inside of her. These are two bodies connected by one umbilical cord, all created by God Almighty. And we need to come alongside the mother and help her in this time of difficulty.
Powerfully and so accurately stated. One other thing, I wanted to throw this your way too. If abortion is enshrined as a right within the Missouri Constitution, that would have a pretty significant, I would think, impact on the legislators in your state. I would assume that it would mean that they could no longer refuse to appropriate funds to abortion providers. I mean, this will just really be taxpayer-funded abortions.
They would be forced to make these appropriations to abortion providers, doctors who want to kill babies. That is a crime and a shame. And that's why we are rallying tomorrow, Saturday, November 2nd, here in Pleasant Hill, Missouri, in Cass County at the Manna Church. We are having I think 15 pastors are going to be praying. I'm going to be there. Lamar Hunt Jr., part owner of the Kansas City Chiefs, is going to be there. He is fighting against Amendment 3 actively. And we are going to have a time of prayer to hopefully convince people, like God convinced people to vote no on Amendment 3, but also to protect our leaders, especially Donald J. Trump, who I think is he's under fire. He's under fire from all sides, but there are people who not just want him in prison or want him bankrupt, they want him dead, and we need to pray for his protection. And we're also thoroughly praying for a fair and free election on Tuesday. 3 things that I would wish everyone could turn out for at Manna Church at 5 p.m. tomorrow, Saturday, November 2nd.
Congressman Mark Alford, thank you so much for your tremendous leadership as always, and for taking time to join us today on Washington Watch. We appreciate it. God bless you. God bless Missouri, and may this initiative go down.
Yes.
Thank you
God
so much
is in
for
control,
joining us.
Jody. Thank you.
Absolutely.